let's take a quick moment to review what we've gone over so far, and then we'll proceed with our class today. So far we've gone over the compartments of the mind, and we've discussed, we've discussed the path towards samadhi is using the buddhi, the intellect, and turning it inward towards, away from just the outside world. So our intellect is trained and, let's just say we've trained it and we've grown up through learning systems to look outward at all things. And so the path of yoga is to turn it back inward so that the manas, the sense perceivers, aren't, the sense perception of our mind isn't the forefront all the time. We're not having to be constantly reacting to outside stimulus. There's the smriti, the memory is not, we want to get to a point where we're not always perceiving life through a lens of our past. So being kind of reactive to everything around us and everything that's happening within our experience because of our past experiences. This is, of course, smriti is a really important aspect of being human, and we definitely are not trying to get rid of this idea that we have a memory bank, and of course we react according to situations because of memory. I mean, a really great one is like, when you connect with a friend that you haven't seen in a while, you have a feeling of all of the collections of experiences that you've had kind of rush back into an overall feeling of hopefully gratitude and joy to be with that person. So memory is not the root of all evil by any means. The challenge is when we let that rule our entire perception of the present. So you all know this, I'm sure you've changed quite a bit in your life as an adult, and when you go back to being with your family after a while, they expect you to be a certain way, and that brings up a lot of stuff for you. So their memories of who you are kind of pigeonhole you in a certain persona, a certain identity, a certain ego, and that might frustrate you or trigger you to go back into your memory banks to become that child again that you work so hard to move away from. So sometimes memory bank can be really a beneficial thing. It's both our gift and our curse, let's say. It's both the thing that brings us so much joy, but also can bring us so much pain. So the question is, can we be aware of our memory? Can we be aware of when a past experience is tainting the current experience? Ahamkara, we want to go beyond the confines of the ego and stretch our identity. So this is what we kind of began with this immersion, and what I talked about last time was I brought in this idea of tapas, the effort that yogis can place into their repetitive practice. So routinely showing up for ourselves. There's another word for that aside from tapas as well, but we'll stick with tapas for now. We'll call it effort, and the rigor of getting into our yoga practice, the rigor of, it's one thing to decide to purchase this immersion or decide to step into a class or whatever it is. It's another thing to continuously show up and put effort forth when the challenges hit. So it's, it might be like, well, I'll just do the asana, and then when meditation hits, I'm like, see ya, sign off, because maybe that's the challenging part. And then also swadhyaya is the purpose, I would say, behind our practice, awareness. And then ishvara pranidhana, surrender, is one of the things I want to kind of talk about today a little bit further. There is a term in Tantra. Tantra is the yogic lineage and philosophy, not the Tantra like, that you may have heard in the Western cultures. But Tantra is a philosophy and practice of yoga. And it talks about this term spanda, which is the pulsation of all things. And if you read the email I sent out, I talked about spanda as two really clear examples of spanda are the heart beating and the breath pulsing, right? So the heart that beats, it pulses inward and outward. It contracts only to expand again. only to contract again. And same thing with our breath. It expands, like the rib cage expands, the lungs fill up, and then the rib cage deflates, the lungs exhale, breath out. This contraction and expansion process exists in all of life. And when we are aware of it, it can really free us up from recognizing that we can surrender, Ishvara Pranidhana, surrender to the divine order that is this spanda, this expansion and contraction that is present within us and all around us. Okay, so spanda is this pulse that is the universe itself is constantly pulsing. Consciousness, this energy of life itself, is in a dance between contraction and expansion. So what does that mean for us? When we're talking about the autonomic nervous system, or the dance between Ida and Pingala, the moon channel and the sun channel, the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, we're talking about this dance between rest and digest and calm and more of an emotional, artistic expression versus the linear, awake, alert. Let's talk about this as like the focused mind, right? When we talk about these two energies that are in this dichotomy, that we're constantly in a dance between these two. And when we can surrender to the awareness that they both exist, and that it is natural for us to swing from one to another. First, we gain a respect for the beauty that is the autonomic nervous system, or that is energy within us, or the nadis, the energy channels, however you want to look at it. And that respect allows us to witness, observe, connect to it, and yes, of course, learn the practices to control it. Now there's the thing where surrender comes in. Now with surrender, this idea of Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering to the divine pattern of the universe, this divine pulse of spanda, this contraction and expansion, it gets confusing when we talk about controlling something. You have to first honor what it is before you can gain control of it. So can you always live in the sympathetic? Well, I think you would. If you did, you probably would die. You have to somehow swing back to parasympathetic. Can you always be parasympathetic? I mean, you would never wake up, right? So there's always a swing, even if we tend towards one or the other. So there's a lot of people that tend towards sympathetic, kind of always alert, kind of always awake. They're do, they're action go-getters, right? And it's really beneficial when they go get a massage, when they go do Shavasana, right? You can tell these kind of people who are constantly in the sympathetic nervous system, the sun channel, the Pingala, because when they go to Shavasana, their eyes are still awake, maybe darting around, right? This might be you, and there's no shame in this. This is just something to be aware of. Aware that you might be more in the sympathetic nervous system throughout your day. And things that we do to put ourselves in sympathetic nervous system, we can drink coffee. A lot of us do that, right? We have caffeine, it puts us in the sympathetic nervous system. If you don't eat in the morning or whatever, that's gonna help you move towards sympathetic nervous system, because parasympathetic is the rest and digest side of us. So if you eat, you're gonna move towards digestion, relaxation, contentment, that just kind of being more in the artistic mindset, the more relaxed vibe, right? So somebody who's maybe got a high stress job or life, or raising kids or whatever it might be, and you're constantly in the sympathetic and you have to be there for long periods of time, it's gonna be really beneficial for you to practice things that allow you to come down from that and find a sense of calm. However, we have to first recognize when our system wants to go one direction or another. And you've got to think of the autonomic nervous system kind of like a moving freight train. So like a really heavy train that's moving fast. If you just try to like say, hey, switch and turn around and have it come to a screeching halt, right? It's not realistic to think that you can go from being completely awake to relaxing, right? And that's why a lot of people struggle when if they're a go-getter kind of person, and then they go on vacation, they're wired the first few days, they can't relax. So it's not likely that we're able to just switch back and forth. We can get better at it, more proficient at it, but the first step is to recognize when we are in one side versus the other, that spanda, that pulse, and to see when the momentum is starting to move towards the other. Then we can do things to facilitate that movement and speed it up, and in honor of it. We can turn that speeding freight train around, but not on a dime. There has to be first a recognition that there are an honoring and a respect that this energy is in one direction, and we got to just slow it down. And we can do that through breath work. We can do that through meditation exercises, asana. Same thing on the other side. So if you're in the parasympathetic, it's like a speeding freight train or a really stuck train, right? You're not gonna think of a ship getting pulled out of the harbor imagine a bunch of humans trying to pull a ship out of the harbor with like ropes on their back if they can walk in water, and they're pulling it. It would take a lot of effort to get that ship to move, but once it moved, it would go, right? So it's the same in reverse. So if you want to come out of that parasympathetic, that Ida channel, that moon channel, we got to coax it out, right? So what I bring up this idea of spanda is so that we can honor which energy we are in. First, be aware of it, honor where we are, and then do practices, take action, put effort forth, tapas, towards moving the freight train in one direction or the other, okay, or the ship, however you want to look at it. So moving towards sympathetic or moving towards parasympathetic. And sometimes it's not appropriate. Sometimes you need to just go to sleep when you're trying to be awake, and the best thing you can do is sleep, right? And sometimes you need to, in reverse, you should be awake and all you're doing is kind of like laying around all day, and you need to get outside, get light, move around, get your blood flowing, get the heart pumping, right? So there are times when we're disrespecting our system and our energetic internal spanda, the pulse, and we're kind of, and our psychology has taken over and kind of pulled us in one direction or another. In these times, we need to really employ the practices to move into the energy systems that we know that we should. And if we're self-reflective and we're honest, we can really pick this out. Like I'm just vegging out today, and I know this is not really what I need. And other times it's like I'm shaming myself for vegging out, and this is actually what I really need. Only you can be honest with yourself and be aware of what is necessary. And so it's not for me or anyone else to judge you, or you to judge yourself for that, but for you to learn to be honest and self-reflective of this spanda. So if you were go for 5 days, then maybe on that 6th day, you do need to, from that expansive state, go back into contraction. Just like everything in nature, the seasons, might expand into this beautiful, like here in the Northeast, we get these like the summertime, the leaves are just bursting and everything is blooming. And then eventually it contracts again. The leaves fall, the energy of the trees, they all come back inward. The perennial plants, they will die off for a certain period of time, and then they will come back in the spring, and then the expansion happens again. Okay, so spanda, this is more of a teaching that I want to bring in for us to be reflective as a community. Over the course of time, it will become more powerful. You'll observe all things in life are going great, and then hits the fan, right? And it'll feel like everything's going the wrong way, everything's terrible, for a while, and then it will expand again. This is how nature is. And if you observe it and you are just recognizing this is what's happening because it is a part of nature, we can then put our efforts in things that we can control and surrender, Ishvara Pranidhana, to the things that we cannot control, the things that are out of our control. So what is within our control? It's our actions. In the case of yoga, what can we control? Our actions or our practices. What practice? When we step on our mat, for that matter, stepping on our mat, doing the asanas, doing the pranayamas, doing the meditation. So I want to thank you for showing up and taking action and controlling what you can, which is your actions. All right, so I'd like to play a little bit with the nervous system today in honor of it. So first we need to recognize where you are. I assume typically either after a Dharma talk like that, you're either in the state of kind of in that boredom state, like you're getting tired, like, oh, I'm listening and I'm not moving. Honor that. If you're in that state of parasympathetic, that more Ida channel, it might stimulate a certain experience inside of you. And then other people get really inspired by the Dharma talks and they want to learn more, and it gets them to want to move and take action on their mat. And so for you, you might be more into the sympathetic. It's an observation. You want to honor that, not shame yourself, just simply observe it. Now, I can tell you right now that when I used to listen to the Dharma talks in the beginning, man, I would fall asleep. My body would hurt. I would be tired. And then over the course of my practice, as I got more and more practiced with the teachings of yoga, I recognized, oh, this Dharma talk actually pertains to me, and I really need to know what information is here. And it started stimulating the sympathetic nervous system, wanting me to take action. You know, I wanted to take action based on the information that was provided for me. So when things are relevant to us and they inspire us, they'll kind of move us into the sympathetic. When they feel irrelevant to us, like I haven't been practicing these things and I don't know what Spanda is, I haven't observed the expansion and contraction in my life, I don't even know what he's talking about, then that's going to feel more parasympathetic, kind of checking out, not so present. So first thing, observe where you are. Second thing, from that place, let's go to child's pose and start breathing. Okay, so knees wide, arms out in front. In these first few breaths, I'd like you to honor the pulse, the spanda, the expansion and contraction of the breath itself. And the fact that we have the autonomy to control the breath and or not, if we choose to allow it to pulse in and out without our control. This makes it a really excellent practice to focus on. The breath is magnificent in that it'll keep going so long as we're alive. It'll keep going without our control. And at the same time, we have direct control over it. The heart is similar. We actually do have control over our heartbeat, but it's not so direct like the breath. So we can affect our heart rate with our breath, and we can also affect our heart rate with our movement. So our heart will respond to our actions. We can change our breath and our heart will respond to that. We can change our actions and our heart will respond to that. So we do have control over our heartbeat. It's just through other actions. And that's probably a good thing. so we don't accidentally stop our heart. Okay. Grip your fingers into the ground. Lift the armpits up. I'm going to start in this extended child's pose with box breathing to begin. Okay, so that means we'll breathe in for a 3 count, gently hold for a 3 count, breathe out for a 3 count, hold for a 3 count. But keep the body awake and alert. So fingers grip the ground, arms stretch out in front. Exhale your breath out. Through the nose, the sound of Ujjayi. We inhale. Hold at the top. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Hold, linger at the top here. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Inhale. Hold, linger. Exhale.
Okay. Now come forward to all fours. Inhale, arch and look up.
As we exhale, round and gaze towards the navel.
Inhale, arch and look up.
Hello, Patty. Welcome in. Exhale, round.
Inhale, arch and look up.
Exhale, round.
Let's add the kumbhak, the retention. Inhale, 3.
Hold here. Draw the belly in and up. Exhale.
Hold here. Inhale.
Hold here. Exhale.
Hold here. Inhale, arch, look up.
Downward facing dog.
So you see how we start the yoga practice. We don't just jump right into sun salutations. The assumption is you're probably not fully in your sympathetic nervous system. So we take ourselves from where we're at, some place of hopefully more or less balanced, and some of us more in the parasympathetic, some of us a little more in the sympathetic. And then we slowly bring in movement and breath in order to bring us all on the same page of being in the sympathetic nervous system. So we hold poses longer, we breathe with them, their postures are a little bit more simple, and then they slowly get harder and harder to stimulate the sympathetic nervous system. So it's not by, happenstance that the yoga practice is designed in that way. Come forward to plank, or at least that's the way I teach it.
Place the knees down and lower chaturanga. Just lift the heart up, inhale. Exhale. Heart and hands, inhale. Sorry. I just need to change something. Exhale, release. Heart, hands, and feet. Exhale. All fours, inhale. Tailbone up, exhale, down dog.
Right leg to the sky, inhale. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Breathe into the right side. Straight leg on the inhale, square the hip. Step right foot forward. High up on the fingertips, we take a breath, draw the feet in toward each other. Exhale, twist, turn the belly. We'll hold this pose. Take a full breath into the length of your arms. And out. One more breath in. Exhale, forearm to the thigh, left hand to the hip. We open up. Side angle preparation. Pull the feet toward each other and press the front heel down so your front hip bone lifts up. Curl back, a little bit of a back bend. Left hand to the sky. Let's take 2 more breaths. Now start to witness and observe the energy of your body. Notice as the breath starts to move and your muscles start to engage, you're starting to move slowly towards sympathetic. Most likely. Exhale, release the hands to the ground.
Straighten through the front leg. Exhale.
For most of us, depending on what time of day and what our schedule is like, we can breathe here. We're probably not fully in the sympathetic, especially if our eyes are soft, our breath is calm, we're not working too hard. Okay, so come bend the knee. I'm not sure if I did say that right. I meant we're more likely in the parasympathetic, the Ida channel, the moon channel. Come forward to plank on the inhale.
Placing the knees down, exhale, chaturanga. And we're moving towards sympathetic. Sun channel, Pingala. Let's slide the hands and feet wide, three-part cobra. Inhale. The low and mid back, push and press or relax forward towards the ground and towards the front of the mat. Then we literally try to pull the ribs forward, press the chest forward, and lift the soft tissue of the abdomen up on the inhale. And exhale to release. And it's kind of important to know that when you do back bends, you're kind of, I assume based on where the adrenals are, above the kidneys back there, come to all fours, that pressure of a back bend is going to stimulate the kidneys, stimulate the adrenal glands, downward facing dog. I don't know if that's pseudoscience or if that's accurate, but I do know that back bends tend to be stimulating for people. And that may or may not be, and I would love to do a little research on this, because of where the adrenals live. Okay, so if we press on them, I imagine it's going to cause a little adrenal release. Again, don't quote me on that. I'll do a little research and get back to you on it. Let's take the left leg to the sky on the inhale. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Let's take an enjoyable breath in and out. Straighten the legs, square the hip. Step left foot forward. High up on the fingertips. Soften as you twist. Breathe the length of your arms. One more breath in. Left forearm to the thigh, back heel comes down, right hand to the hip. Sway the groins back, gather strength in the legs, and turn the chest. A gentle back bend. Again, that tends to be more stimulating, perhaps why we do so many upward dogs or cobras in the asana practice, to help stimulate the sympathetic nervous system. If that is the case for you, you find that when you do back bends, you wake up more. Now you have a tool of awareness to get more into sympathetic. You don't want to, of course, wrench yourself into back bends, reach the right arm out. You want to coax your spine into a back bend slowly. So what we don't have control of, what we surrender to, is the tempo and the timing that life unfolds. In this case, the tempo and timing that our physical body is ready to move into one nervous system, one side of the nervous system or the other. Let's take one more breath in. And exhale, hands to the ground. What we do have control of, our actions, our efforts, our tapas, is our action. Straighten through the left leg. What we do with the time we have, that is within our control. The results, that is out of our control. This is also a topic specifically in the Yoga Sutras about effort and surrendering to the efforts of our actions. Maybe we'll get to that on another day so I don't go off on a tangent here. Bend the left knee. Step back to down dog. I'll give you the terms though, because I can't help it. Abhyasa and Vairagya are the terms in the Yoga Sutras. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide, three-part cobra. Inhale. Exhale, melt. Pull up the abdomen. Pull up the low ribs towards the throat, to the head, and release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, exhale, down dog.
Okay, take note of where you are right now, your experience. As you breathe, are you more in the calm, relaxed, chill vibes? Or are you starting to get that itch, that desire to, move and get more into the sweat and the muscle activations, the heartbeat? A lot of this, by the way, is probably largely determines which yoga teachers you choose to practice with, meaning who kind of syncs up with your rhythms and who doesn't. If somebody, starts their class like raving, just kind of like sun salutations right away, and you tend to be a person more in the parasympathetic, that's probably not going to work for you. Walk the feet slowly to the front of the mat. And vice versa, if you're a sympathetic nervous system kind of person and someone starts in a restorative pose, that's probably going to really just nag at you. Lift the chest, inhale. And sympathetic, I'm talking about nervous system, not the emotion. Exhale, bow. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. One more. Exhale, bow. To the sun, please rise. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana.
To the heart, Samastati. Now let's slowly start to pull that ship out of the harbor with our breath, with our movement, and get the heart rate to pump. And so we all get up into this, the sympathetic nervous system, the Pingala channel, the more fiery, the more sacred masculine, the more sun channel. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold.
Halfway lift on the inhale. Left foot steps back. Right foot is synonymous with the sun. That's why it's forward first.
Inhale, rise up in a sun salutation. Hold here. Pull the feet toward each other. Get strong in the legs, back leg strong. Lift the sides of the ribs up. Take the fingers back, look up. Exhale, hands to the ground.
Plank pose.
Inhale. Chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide. Inhale, lift. Melt. Stretch the abdomen up through the back of the neck. Exhale, release. All fours. Lead with your tailbone up, downward facing dog.
Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step right foot forward.
High lunge, rise, nice and tall. Open up, warrior two. Let's pause here, pull your feet toward each other, press down through your front heel, get nice and strong in your legs. If you want to stimulate sympathetic nervous system, focus your eyes on a single point. If you want to stay calm mentally and emotionally, soften your eyes and take in more the fullness of the room without focusing on anything in particular, more like you're looking at the horizon. Now you have that choice, which direction you want to go. It's a tool. One more breath. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up, turn the pelvis, inhale, step forward. Adjust your feet, exhale and bow.
To the sunrise, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. To the heart, Samastitihi.
Inhale, Urdhva.
Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Half lift, inhale. Right foot steps back. Now we're going on the left side, the Ida channel, the moon channel. Rise up, inhale. Hold. Strong in the legs, get lifted, get light in the chest. Soften the eyes perhaps, or if you need to be more awake, then open them up and find a point to look at sharply. For our purposes, steady and even breath, and if you'd like, you can include that little bit of lingering on either side of the breath. So at the top of the inhale, you can linger. At the bottom of the inhale, you can linger. Exhale, hands to the ground. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide. Inhale, lift. Melt. Inhale, lengthen. And release. All fours. Tuck the toes, down dog. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward. Rise, high lunge. Open up, warrior two. Hold. Take a breath. Soften the mind. Pull your feet toward each other. Get strong in the legs. Choice to soften the eyes or focus the eyes. Another choice would be to close the eyes and release the stimulus of external visuals that would help you to partially relax some of that part of the mind that is the sense perceiver, the manas, the reactive part to the senses around us, or the senses that picks up what's around us. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up, turn the pelvis. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, bow forward. Rise to the sun, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to the heart. Feet wide, bend the knees. Pause here, hands on the thighs. Move the knees and hips back and push your heels out isometrically. Stay with your breath. Soften the mind by attending to the breath. Strong in the body. Push your heels out so your buttocks engages, especially the outer hips, and lift the belly up. Find this arch, this back bend. This tends to be, if you do this with a little bit of a back bend, it's going to be stimulating and it'll start to wake you up. And if it feels like it's forcing you awake, then soften your eyes. Relax with the breath a little bit. Relax your teeth, take your arms into a cactus-like shape. You see I'm in a big back bend on purpose. Knees, hips back to awaken, to start to slowly speed up my heart rate. 2 more breaths. Push the heels out. Keep the hips back. Keep the chest lifted. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Halfway lift on the inhale. Left foot back, exhale.
high lunge, rise. Open warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Right from here to chaturanga, exhale. Hands to the ground, pivot the back, heel up, step and lower. Slide hands and feet wide, three-part cobra. Exhale, melt. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And release all the way down. Okay, pause. We're gonna do Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. The way I suggest, you could place hands on blocks, hands wide and turned out. Okay, hands wide, turned out. Shoulders roll forward towards your ears and then back. Come into cobra pose. Now at this point, if your hands are in front of you, there's no way you're gonna really lift up to down dog, sorry, to up dog. You'd have to move your hands pretty far back, okay? So for most people, that's gonna feel really awkward. You can see the heel of my hand lifts to do this shoulder roll, but then once I come all the way up, I can rise up into upward facing dog. It's largely about hand placement, okay? So see how far back my hands are here. I do a shoulder roll up, back, down, upward dog, and then release. Try it a couple more times. Hips go down, elbows bend, I release belly and chest. We'll do it one more time. Adjust your hands, plank pose or all fours. Exhale, down dog. Let's take a full breath in and out. 2 more breaths in your down dog. Regain softness in the mind from your breath. One more. Lift the heels up, look forward. Empty the breath out, hop or step to the front. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, bow. Bend the knees, chair pose. Stand, hands to heart. Bend the knees, chair pose, slow, steady. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Half lift. Right foot back, slow step. Rise, high lunge, inhale. Warrior two, exhale. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Chaturanga, sorry. Slide hands and feet wide. Inhale, 3-part cobra. Exhale, melt the midsection, the low back, the chest downward. Pull the heart forward towards the front of the mat. Press the low back forward. Lift the belly. Exhale, release all the way down. Let's try Urdhva Mukha Svanasana again. So slide your hands back. You can keep them wide and turned out. Shoulders come forward. Roll your way into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, knees back down, thighs, pelvis, belly, chest. Adjust your hands, plank or all fours. Inhale. Exhale to downward facing dog. 3 breaths, inhale. Exhale it out. Inhale. Exhale. So as the body's moving more and more, the breath, we try to slow it down so that the heart doesn't go up too fast, which would trigger probably for a lot of us like that feeling of anxiety or lightheadedness.
We slow it down while everything's starting to speed up. This way things happen at a more controlled pace. Lift the heels up on the inhale, look forward. At the end of the exhale, hop or step to the front of the mat. When you get there, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Bend the knees, chair pose. Place the hands to heart center. We're going to twist to the right. Round the upper back. Lift the belly in towards the spine. And on the exhale, turn the chest to the right. Sit a little bit lower. Okay. Let's do 2 more breaths. Place your hands on your thighs to slowly unwind. Hold here. Chair pose, inhale. Right tricep, left thigh. Palms on top of one another. Inhale, lift the belly, lift the rib cage. Turn as you twist. 3 breaths, inhale. Inhale to unwind, hands on thighs. Hold here, hips back, push the heels apart. Inhale, reach up, chair pose, Utkatasana. Hold, exhale. 1 more, full breath in. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Step or hop back, Chaturanga. Upward dog, inhale, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward, exhale. High lunge, rise up, inhale. Left tricep, right thigh twist. Round your upper back. Pull the belly in, turn the chest to the right. Full breath in. Turn a little bit more. 1 more, full breath in. Twist. On an inhale, slow to unwind. You can place your hands on your thigh. Then the arms come up. Open up, warrior 2. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle pose, forearm to the thigh, hand to hip to start. Move your groins back. Slide the right fingertips to the inside of the right foot. Take a full breath in. Push down through the heel, turn the pelvis, turn the chest. Take the left hand to the sky. Two more breaths. One more. Left hand to the hip, look down. Take the right hand outside the right foot, turn the back toes in. Looking down, start to straighten through the front leg. Put some weight in your right hand to help you out. And push your two heels down into the ground and then away from one another. Then option to turn your chest. Mindful of the inner thigh. Make sure you're not straining it. You could always put your hand on a block. Left hand to the sky. Utthita Trikonasana. 3 breaths. And while you're here, starting to observe not only the pulse, the spanda of the breath and the heartbeat, but the movement from parasympathetic to sympathetic. If you're feeling too awake, too alert, too stimulated, then soften your eyes.
Slow, especially the exhales. If you're still feeling falling asleep, then increase this pace of your breath a little bit. Focus the eyes, right? You have these tools. Left hand to the hip. Bend the right knee, coming to Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Lift the left leg up. Reach the left hand to the sky if possible. Option to keep the gaze down towards the ground or turn it up to the sky. One more breath. Both hands to the ground. Bend both knees for a moment. Turn the pelvis. Lengthen the chest. Now, pour your weight into your hands, full palms on the ground, and start to straighten through the bottom leg, maybe through the top for standing splits, Eka Padasana. Let's take 2 more breaths. Slowly bend the right knee. Step back into 3-legged dog. Right leg goes up and back. Right shin across the mat for pigeon pose. Let's stimulate the sympathetic nervous system a little bit more. Press your knees down, pull them toward each other. Bring your hands to your front thigh. Optionally, you can stay here or bend your back knee and try to get a thigh stretch. Pigeon with a thigh stretch. Turn your chest to the front of the mat. If this is totally not doable, you can always do left hand down and reach back with your opposite hand, or I'll use a strap as well. Just holding the lifted variation is nice too, so both hips are off the ground as you can see. We know that there's some correlation between the quads and the hip flexors and fight or flight, it's presumably because there are running muscles and also are fighting muscles. And so thigh stretches tend to be stimulating for the sympathetic nervous system, which for some people can go overboard. It can put them into a fight or flight kind of experience where they just stop practicing the yoga practice or they check out completely. All right, release the foot. Step back, downward facing dog. On the next breath in, come forward to plank. Chaturanga as you exhale. Upward dog, inhale, roll forward with the shoulders and then up. Exhale right into down dog. Let's take a breath to soften the mind. If you emphasize a long exhale, it relaxes back towards parasympathetic. We'll do one more like that. A nice long exhale. All right, left leg to the sky. Step forward. High lunge, rise. Twist to the left. Left palm on top of right. Lift the midsection. Turn the belly. Turn the chest. Let's hold here. Strong in the legs. Notice the spanda, the pulse of energy, just also in your breath. You might be even able to feel your heartbeat. Okay, on the inhale, you use your hands to start the unwind. Up to the sky. Open up, warrior 2. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle. Groins back, pull your feet toward each other. Turn the chest and slide the left hand to the inside of the foot. Right hand to the sky. Notice where you are in your energy system, in your autonomic nervous system. Remembering that we have this pulse of spanda, the energy goes in both directions. And honoring it means even if you're still like caught in that sleepy mode, to just let that be And just simply continue taking the actions without trying to forcefully control something that's out of control. What you can control is the actions, not the outcome. So you can control what you're doing within the situation. You can control your eyes. Are they darting or are they soft? And is that on purpose? You can control your breath and how fast or slow it moves. If you need to calm down the heart rate, then slow the exhales. If you want to speed up your heart rate, then increase the inhales a little more rigorously. Okay, right hand to the hip, left hand outside the foot. Turn the back toes in a little bit, please. Turn your hip down slightly, then straighten through the left leg. Pressing your two heels apart, start to rotate the spine. Right hand to the sky. Let's do 3 breaths. Optionally, you can turn your head to the sky. We'll do one more breath. Right hand to the hip, bend the left knee, come to Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Again, optionally looking down at the ground or perhaps up towards your top hand, staying with your breath. Slowly releasing both hands to the ground. We're going to bend both knees a little bit here. Take a breath in, lengthen. As you exhale, place the palms fully on the ground. Try to straighten through both legs if possible. Standing splits, Ekapadasana. Slowly bend the left knee. Step back into 3-legged dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Left shin across the mat. Okay, press down through your knees so your hips can lift up and you can make less use of your hands. Turn your chest towards the back foot. Reach back for a thigh stretch. Turn the chest back to center. One more breath. Slow to release the foot. Let's go to plank pose. Inhale. Chaturanga as you exhale. Please come all the way to your belly. Wiggle your belly long. Bend your knees and reach for your feet. Now, what you could do, just a little tip for being at home, is you can put a bolster or a block is less comfortable, but you could put a bolster under your belly, give you a little lift, okay, when you grab the feet. I don't suggest a cork block like I have, okay, but a pillow is better. Okay, on the inhale, you roll the shoulders back like we just did, forward and back like you did in upward dog. Then use your feet, kick your feet back using your quadriceps. Okay, we'll start to stimulate that area of the low back, where the kidney bands are, where the adrenals are. Breathing into the upper chest, where the heart is. Slow to release. Take a moment. And notice your heartbeat now. Keep your breath slow and steady through the nose. All right, come to all fours. Place the block aside. Tuck your toes, feet wide. This is the last big pose for us today, and as far as asana goes. Hands on your heels. You can notice my heels are outside my hips here. Maybe it's easier from this side. Okay. Like upward dog, you're gonna go shoulders up, then back. And you see my fingers are just facing straight down. Okay, so up, then back. That exposes the pectoral muscles. And then you're gonna keep them back and press your chest and ribs forward. If you'll notice, I'm in a chair-like shape in my low back. Okay, you see that? Keep that. Press your chest forward and up to the sky. And then maybe lift your hips up by pushing down through your hands. Potentially pressing the low back forward. Notice I said low back. Press it forward. Press the heart up. Slowly lean back, lean your weight into your hands to bring the hips back to the heels. All right. Now let's try this train that we just started rolling, right? We got our energy flowing in this direction. We are most likely, most of us, towards the sympathetic, and we're gonna try to calm it down gracefully. So we're gonna start with the pranayama that you already know. That helps when you know something. It makes you feel safe and calm. So we'll do the one we did the other day, where you fold the index and middle into the hand. Okay, we're gonna do a little asana in between things. So we're not just going straight into meditation this time, but we're gonna use this pranayama to calm the energy system down rather than just using a posture. We'll get to a pose in a second. I do recommend sitting up on a block for a second, okay? So we start with the inhale through the left side. Linger at the top. Exhale through the right side. Try to dilate the nostrils, dilate the nose so you can get the full movement. Linger. Inhale through the right side. Linger at the top. Exhale through the left. Linger at the bottom. Inhale through the left. Linger at the top. Exhale through the right. Linger at the bottom. Inhale through the right. Linger at the top. Exhale through the left. Release the hands. Just breathe through two sides of the nostril. Dilate the nose. Linger at the top. This time a sigh through the mouth. Two more like that. An inhale through the nose. Sigh through the mouth. One more the same way. Inhale through the nose. Long, luxurious sigh through the mouth. Okay. Take a moment to just acknowledge, notice your energy now as compared to when we just sat down a moment ago. Okay, release the block if you have it. If you've got a couch cushion or something you can sit up on, like a blanket, or we're going to just do a Dandasana, seated staff pose. Legs hip width apart. Flex the feet. Arch the low back. We'll hold here. This will be a little more stimulating. One more breath. And now tip your pelvis forward the best you can. You might have to pull the skin of your buttocks back to help you. Move towards an extended Paschimottanasana, so a lifted version. So you see I'm still upright. Close the eyes, let the breath flow steady. Firm the quads. Spanda is the pulse between expansion and contraction. We can observe it within us through the breath, the heartbeat, the autonomic nervous system, or the energy channels of Ida and Pingala. But we could also observe it all around us in everything in life. The observation of it helps us gain a respect for it. Recognizing that it exists will stop us from thinking that we can control all of it, but instead, what we can control is our actions. We can control if we're observing the results of our actions. For example, we can observe the results of our actions without trying to control the results. This is something that's challenging for most of us in society today. We think that we can control the results, and then our actions, we tend to be burnt out because we're not recognizing that we can't control the results, but what we can control, our efforts, our tapas. Okay, now let's bow. Paschimottanasana. Be mindful of your back. If those back bends were big and this doesn't feel right on your back, then stay lifted. But if it feels okay, pull the ribs back, round the back a little bit, and start to tuck your chin. And we lengthen that whole area along the back from the sacrum all the way to the skull. Some of you are going to feel that when you tuck your chin all the way through your forehead. Okay, and slowly come on up. Let's bring our heads to the front of the mat, just turn around. We'll take Shavasana together, a somewhat brief one today, but we're all going to come on board with this, releasing our efforts of the physical body, so allowing the adrenaline to subside in the system, at least in the physical body. Relax the teeth. Relax your bones.
this case, what we have control over is the decision to not take action, which is still an action, of course, but no movement, in other words, in the body. And of course, if you've got an itch or something, don't worry about that. Just do your best within the experience that you're having to let the bones and muscles and the skin to relax into the stability of the earth. It's no coincidence that the asana practice includes upregulation and downregulation within it. Recognizes the arc of our energy system. So it's important to honor that arc. By practicing actions that serve one side of our energy and the other. Being deliberate and intentional with our practices. To honor the pulse, the spanda of the autonomic nervous system. Of Ida and Pingala, the nadis. The sacred sun and the sacred moon within us. Your awareness back to your breath. Filling up with breath. A gentle awakening of the fingers and toes. Stretch the arms. Roll to your side and come to a meditative seat. Whenever you take your comfortable seat, observe what is. Observe where your energy is. Swadhyaya, so the sutra, Tapa Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana. Swadhyaya is cultivating the inquiry towards awareness. When we are aware and we are taking action, being deliberate to focus our attention and to be aware of the pulse within us and all around us. An appreciation grows and a surrender, Ishvara Pranidhana, comes part of our foundation of existence. So in this moment, while we are taking action to stay seated and to observe, we can also respect the magnificence of the autonomic nervous system itself. That it is in constant flux, back and forth between the sacred sun, the sacred moon, the fire, the energy that is stimulating, and then back again to the calmness of water, grounding. This is nature of our existence, pulsing, expanding, contracting. To be aware of it, to appreciate it. This is one of the goals of our practice together. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Bring your awareness back to your fingers and awaken them. Interlace your hands, bend your elbows, and flip the palms so the hands are upside down on top of your head. Lean the low belly forward, take a full breath into your chest. Pull your elbows back and your shoulder blades toward each other. Now extend the arms up to the sky. 2 more breaths. Slowly release the hands down in front of you. Come into Uttanasana or Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, bow.
2 slow lifts. Inhale, slowly lift the chest.
Exhale, bow.
Inhale.
Exhale.
Half lift, inhale. Left foot into warrior one. Back toes turn in slightly. Walk your hands to the inside of your right leg. Take a breath in. Bow to the inside of your right leg. Full breath in. And out. One more. Full breath in. And out. Walk the hands back to the front. Step the left foot forward. Right foot back. Hands to the inside of the left foot. Take a breath in. Bow to the inside of the left leg. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Back to the center. Step forward, half lift. Bow. Interlace the hands behind the back. Stretch the shoulders open. Take an inhale. Exhale. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Last one. Hands to the thighs, bend the knees. Last pose, lift the chest, pause.
Push the heels out, arch the back, reach the arms up, chair pose. Two more breaths. One more breath. Stand up, hands to heart. Together, in honor of this body, the constant pulse of spanda within us, the expansion and the contraction that happens all around us as well, the breath, the heart, autonomic nervous system, the sun, the moon, and everything else in life, we bow. Thank you all so very much for your practice. I hope that you enjoyed this experience. Look forward to sharing the next one. Namaste. All right, everybody. Stay well. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Sorry, we went over a little time there. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Karina, Anya, Kristen. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Johanna, Simona, Uta, Sabui, Shirin, Patricia, Patricia, Dance Becca, Mikhail. Appreciate all of you. Thanks, Patty. It's great to go through both systems and observe the energy shift. Awake and alert for now. Johanna says, super balanced, thank you. Awesome. Karina says, thank you, it was an amazing class. Sharon, thank you. Oh, hello, Regina. Nice to have you here. Glad you loved it. Rebecca says hi to Sharon. And Mikhail, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, folks, you all have a great day, evening, morning, whatever time it is for you. Stay well. See you on the next one. Oh, hello, Simon. Thanks so much for being here.